Hello everyone, we're back again with another video. Today we are going to be cleaning. So this is just how I clean my Nendoroids and some tips on how you can clean yours. Also what to do with some of that, plasticizer that sometimes forms on other Nendoroids. So we're going to start by taking everything apart. So you don't have to really clean what's in the box because surely that's hopefully been in a dust-free environment. But if it's not, I guess add that onto your list of things you need to clean. So what I usually do is I pull everything apart. So let's get all his arms off. We'll pull out his sword. Link is gonna feature in a whole bunch of videos this week, I guess. Put that back on. Pull off his head parts, faceplate, and the back. Oh, let's keep that in there. Alright, off you go. And then the pants and tunic thing. Alright, so we've got everything taken apart. You can keep the arm on the base if you really want. It's not a big deal. So what I'll usually do is I've got a paintbrush. It's just probably the smallest one I could find at the time. Nothing too special. What you're gonna want to do is you're going to want to find somewhere with a lot of light. Let's move this down a little bit. So you're going to want a place where you can see the figure very well, as well as any dust that might have formed on it. Thankfully, I'm in a fairly dust-free room, so Link has been fairly clean. Hopefully I don't have to clean too much. But what you're going to want to do is just kind of dust it down. So you're going to want to get in between all the little grooves and stuff, especially on the hair. Some of the spiky hair characters are an absolute pain. So that's why we use a paintbrush, because that'll get into the small little gaps. Also, definitely go behind the hair parts, because sometimes dust does get there. You never know where dust is going to show up, honestly. So it's worth kind of pay attention to some of the thinner parts. And then you can give like everything just a once rub down. But the idea of having it in the light is you'll be able to see the dust coming off the figure. So you know where you've gone, you know where you've been, and where you need to go. So that makes things super easily. Then what I do is just grab cloth or tissue or whatever and give it like one final rub down. So you're going to want to be careful with some of the more flimsy parts. So if your figure has like a thin sword, honestly this goes for Nendoroids and everything else. So if it has something thin that you think can break, go lightly. You don't want to go over the top. For the faceplate, nothing too big. Sometimes mouths will have a 3D effect to them. Give that a quick wipe. If not, cloth will do the trick. So use your cloth, clean it nice and neat. Sometimes you might want to go behind the ears with your paintbrush. Honestly, if you really wanted, if you didn't have a paintbrush, you could probably just scrunch up some tissue and get it to a really fine point, and then kind of go like that. That'll probably do the trick just as well. Then we're gonna go through the torso, same deal. It's gonna build up dust in places like there because it's a gap, it's a groove, as well as in the joints. You want to clean out that too, because sometimes dust gets in there. Or at least that's what I do. Of course, like, spend as much time on this as you want, because cleaning does take a while, especially if you've got a lot of your own figures. When it comes to small fragile pieces like this, I'd only use a paintbrush. If you're feeling confident, you can use a cloth with it as well. Especially like take a look at this. So so there's like a little groove for the swirl going on here. So you're gonna want to get that because dust is gonna form there. It's always gonna go into like the cracks of the figure and the joints and stuff like that. So stuff like here again, it's another little joint. You don't need to be overly thorough with this. It's just to kind of get the little once over. Give it a wipe with your cloth, and there you go. Stuff like this will have patterns and engravings on it. You want to really get to those, as well as behind the figure, because just because you can't see it doesn't mean you don't want to clean it, because stuff's going to build up over time and it's going to damage your figure, and that's not what you want. With hands, it's a bit tricky as well. You've got grooves and gaps. Get in between, because dust will often cake up there. Alright. Same deal with this guy. And then you also want to get in between like the little cuff of the sleeve, because a lot of dust tends to get there as well. Alright, we don't need that, and another sleeve part. Nice and neat. And then sometimes dust gets under like tunics and dresses and stuff. It's not very often. It'll mostly cake up on the foot of the shoes, and some of the top as well if your figure's like that and you're in a weird position. And then we've got last bit, the headpiece. Alright, we got all the gaps. Give it a quick rub down with our cloth / tissue. And there you go, that's it. So then you can start putting your figure back together. So we got headpieces. Back in you go. Let's get his tunic on the right way. Torso. Is this his sword arm or is this his shield arm? This is his shield arm, I think. Maybe. I forget. Yeah, that's the right arm. Okay, we'll get your hand back in there. Crack the sword open, slide that in. It's a fairly simple process. It's nothing, too crazy. Also, you're going to want to keep these guys out of sunlight. Direct sunlight is going to damage them. I mean, it's a bright area I'm in now, but when I display my figures, they are in my little shelf, if you've seen my room tour, and that's nowhere near any sunlight, because sunlight's going to bleach it, and it's going to like make the colors look bad over time, and you don't want that. You want to take care of your figures because you've probably spent quite a bit of money on them. So let's get that there, let's get that, like that, and that. Ta-da! Let's get your head back on. And then your shield. And also you don't want dust to cake up, because, the longer you leave it, the more there's going to get, and it tends to kind of stick onto the figure, and becomes really hard to clean later on if you want to do that. Also, if you ever want to sell your figures, that's not ideal. You don't want to give someone a dusty, moldy figure as well. Alright, there we go. We've got Link back to his normal shape. Let's put him down for a second. And then we've got the base. So I also clean my base. This isn't as important, because it's this you could probably just wash this. Oh, it turns out I've also put this in the wrong side, the wrong peg. That should be at the back. Alright, and then I just do like a quick once over in all the holes, because that's where dust tends to stay. Alright, I don't know how well it's coming out, but I can see at least that the dust is coming out of the holes, and because it's a well lit area, I can see it floating around, which is honestly, it's what you want. Try not to inhale the dust or you'll sneeze. Nice and neat. And if you really want, you can go and clean underneath, but I mean, how often are you going to get dust under there, because it's lying flat? So, that's pretty much it for cleaning the dust off your figures. That'll do the trick. It'll keep everything nice and neat. Go into the hole. There you go. And then you can just put your figure on like normal. Job done. So, there are some other steps you're going to want to take as well if you've got some plasticizer on your figure. So if you watched a couple of my older videos, so like Sakura Miku and the Senna unboxing, you know that those figures were quite sticky, which is not what you want. It's not what you want when you've got figures, because if it's sticky and you get dust on it, it's going to stay there a lot longer. Absolutely take your figures out of the box. So if you are a collector who likes to keep things in the box, I would say maybe air them out every now and then, because the plasticizer tends to... So basically how Good Smiles makes these things is they put something called plasticizer inside the plastic to make it more moldable, which is easier for them to then mold the plastic into the shape they want. So that over time escapes from the figure and it releases into the air. But if you've got your figure still boxed up, it's not going to go anywhere, so it's going to stick onto the figure instead, and sometimes box. It only really happens with the kind of plastic they use for like the actual figure itself. Stuff like the sword and shield are made out of different plastic, so you won't really find anything on that, so you're fine on that respect. So you know, most of the small bits like the sword would come with inside the box. It would just have like a thin plastic kind of tape piece, I guess you'd describe it as, on top of it. You can leave that there if you don't want to, you know, damage the integrity of having something new. But you do want to air out your figures so that plasticizer doesn't build up over time. Unless you never plan on selling your collection and are fine with having it in the box forever, as well as hope to sell it when you die to someone who wants to keep it in the box. But I'd advise you open them up, because they're cool to display. But hey, up to you. Anyway, let's say you've bought a secondhand figure and it does have the sticky plasticizer on it. What do? So, it's honestly really simple. It's just get some soap, get some dishwashing liquid, whatever you have, whatever kind of soapy, liquidy stuff that you can use, and get some hot water, put your figure in the hot water, kind of give it a rinse, and then what I do is I'll put a bit of soap on my figure, and then just gently with your hand rub it on the figure. So what you're going to do is you're going to get rid of that plasticizer from the figure without damaging the figure. If you try and use something like maybe a sponge or a dish rag or something and, you know, vigorously rub it, you're going to end up damaging the paint and everything, as well as stuff with like smaller parts. You're going to end up snapping them, which is not what you want. So hot water, soap, gently with your finger. It just kind of, it's basically like a massage for your figure. It's really easy, quick to do, depending on how much you need to clean. So I'd focus just on the parts that are sticky. So if the sword isn't sticky because it's a different plastic, don't bother washing the sword. Just wash the arms and the face and whatever, and the main parts of the body, and then you should be good. But yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know to take care of your figures. So just a quick sum up: paintbrush for thin grooves, cloth for a quick wipe down, get in between the grooves, keep it out of sunlight, wash it with soap and hot to warm water with your finger gently when you're washing it with plasticizer, and that's all you really need to know. So that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like. If you've got any of your own tips on how you clean your figures or take care of them, let me know. I would be great if you could tell me how to keep dust off these guys, because in a couple of months, although they haven't dusted up too much in the last few months, I'm sure I'm going to need to clean my whole collection, which is going to be an absolute nightmare. So yeah, let me know, what are your tips on keeping things clean? Have I missed anything? Let me know all of that stuff in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed the video, give it a like and subscribe for more Nendoroid content. We've got a whole bunch of Nendoroids unboxings, which will come eventually once shipments resume. But for now, go watch some of the old videos. There's some cool stuff back there. And other than that, I think I will do some spotlight videos after that. If you've got any requests, if you've watched my room tour, let me know what you want to see first, and I'll go with that. Or else, Link is going to feature in his third video for this week. But that's going to do it for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you in the next one. All right, bye.